Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, our new drug today is a new time, at least during football season. Thursdays commence at 2 p.m. Eastern. Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon, J.J. La Selva with you. Got to get used to the early start. You told me you just woke up. Did you make it?
I did. I mean, literally like 25 minutes ago.
Yeah. So you raced in, though.
Raced in. Yeah.
And usually you get up early, like noon, but today you said you would sleep in. Like
I mean, why wouldn't I? It's a free country.
It absolutely is. Yeah. It also felt weird not having a Jag practice, didn't it? It
did. Of course, we'll get to be out there Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, that's right.
So that will certainly make up for not being out there today.
And Friday.
Yes. And we'll be out there Friday. We'll be out there Monday. Yeah, and then off day Tuesday. So we'll have a Saturday, Sunday weekend off in late February.
You know what? And that's okay.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Right, because
that's the deal.
Exactly right. Well, and again, if I'm assuming the parade's on a Thursday or a Friday.
I would think
you'll need the Saturday or Sunday off. I mean, parades can be like crazy.
Yep, it's going to be phenomenal. I can't wait.
Yeah. Well, will the parade go down the river? We have a great river. You got to go down the river, don't you? I wouldn't go down Bay Street. I'd go down the river.
I think for their first one, it'll be a land celebration.
For the first one.
And then when they repeat, maybe it'll become naval. But I would think initially for your first one, you would want it to be on terrain.
Okay.
That's just me guessing.
All right. Well, I've been thinking all about it a lot, you know.
They always surprise me with their creativity, so who knows what
I told you
they would have in store.
I told you this before. I think I've told you this story. I think I know I've said it on our show. As a play-by-play guy, you want the game to come to you. You don't want to just have all this scripted stuff and planned stuff most of the time. But I knew that if the Jags got to the Super Bowl in 2017, if they won that game against the Patriots, which I thought they were going to, you have to have a plan.
They should have won it.
Yeah. So when the clock hit 0 in Foxborough and the Jags were headed to Minneapolis in 2 weeks, I had a plan.
Mm-hmm.
No one will ever know.
Yeah.
I'm never going to say what I was going to say, but I had a plan. So that said, I'm planning the parade. Okay.
Good.
But I had the river and people on both sides. You think maybe Bay Street because it's kind of close to the river?
That's what I would think.
Maybe right down the middle of Bay Street, right?
Yeah.
Right all the way down. I mean, you'd probably go from the Main Street Bridge to the stadium, and then have the party at the stadium at the end of it.
That's what I would think.
I'll plan it. I'm looking ahead. Okay,
yeah.
You can't be afraid. You can't live life in fear, Hays.
No,
okay?
you cannot.
You can't be afraid.
So you're not going to have any boats involved.
Well, again, Hays, but Hays kind of vetoed it. I think I would have had a boat parade. I mean, both. Can you do both?
I think the problem is the river is so wide. If they're in the middle of the river,
good point.
I don't think they're going to have much interaction with the fans.
Well, you know what? That's why you're on the committee because you're always thinking about stuff.
Maybe like pull up in Shad's yacht to a port, and from there
you go.
Start the parade.
So
on land.
Maybe get off the Kismet,
Kismet,
and then come down Bay Street.
Yeah,
and then end at the stadium. Listen, we got that part figured out.
I will say to all of our fine, noble leaders, we're going to need more than just one day.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Jaguars win the
Can
Super
you imagine?
Bowl, the parade. I mean, everybody's getting like 3 days off.
Yeah, right.
Like,
there's
across the board.
There's no school.
There's
no work.
The libraries are closed. Like, we're not picking up the trash.
The libraries are closed.
Yeah, and there's nothing productive has happened.
Because I know that's where all the locals are at.
The best thing is that the libraries are closed. That'll change everything. Yeah. So, all right, very good. All right, we got a lot of things to cover today on the program. We do have the parade figured out, so that is good. I'm excited about the season. I want you to kind of, since we're at the first break now of sorts, I want you to look back at the first week of camp. What surprised you? What didn't? Did anything change that you thought going in? I'm not sure a lot can in the first week, but there might be a storyline or a player or two that either good or bad might have surprised you. So we'll start the program. We'll talk about that a little bit. Do you realize there's 12 teams in the college football playoff this year? It still does. It doesn't still feel surreal. It
really does, because when I look at like a projection for it, it's still really hard just for it to make sense to my eye.
Yeah,
like, okay, wait now the Big 12 champion is the 4 seed, even though it's like an 8-4 team and things like that. So yeah, it'll take some getting used to, but I'm glad it's here.
And part of our conversation today, part of today's program is I'm going to go through what are the possible records what's the worst record that could get in? Now that means it could mean a 7-5 conference champion, and then we'll say what's the worst at-large record there. So we'll get to that coming up in a bit, and what's Notre Dame got to do to get in. So we'll do that today. That'll be kind of fun. Give an idea a little bit about that. What's going to happen with Brandon Ayuk?
I guess he'll stay there. I mean, it's hard to make that kind of trade now. So
things, but that story's been weird from the get-go.
It has, but it seems like, I mean, first off, the 49ers, I mean, why would you get rid of him? Obviously they can keep him. It's not like they've got to get rid of him to get under the cap or anything. So they obviously can fit him in. So, and for them, it's maybe more than any other team in the NFL. It's world title or bust for the San Francisco 49ers. They've been close a couple times recently, haven't gotten there. They've got a great core. If Brock Purdy can continue to elevate his play, they are going to be scary good. So I think if you're San Francisco, even if it's going to cost you down the line because you held on to Ayuk and maybe didn't get as much for him in a trade as you could have, he leaves and you get like a comp third in a year down the road. I just think at this point, it's hard for me to see him being traded. I mean, these teams are sort of galvanizing around the guys they have. So to make that kind of move now wouldn't make a ton of sense. Now, if San Francisco, for whatever reason, doesn't have the season that they think they're going to have, if they struggle, I don't see this happening. But if it does happen, maybe Ayuk could get moved at the deadline. But I think he's going to be a 49er for one more year.
It's going to be very interesting to see. So we'll certainly track that. JJ, tell me if I've lost my mind, because it wouldn't be the first time. I got this sense that here come the Braves. Am I way off?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You know better. I mean, they got
their bats are hitting more homers.
They got 4 coming up against the Marlins.
That's good.
And while Philly goes to play a pretty hot Seattle team, the Phillies are.
So you're even talking about the East.
I just mean, I mean, here they come. I just the Phillies.
They made up 3.5 games in like a 4-week span or something like that. Which we've been talking about how bad the Braves have been in those 4 weeks. It's just the Phillies have been even worse.
Yeah, the Phillies are really struggling. And
Harper's like 1 for his last 30.
Yeah.
Worst slump he's ever had.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just get this feeling
from your lips to God's ear.
You know, it's funny because I was going to get to this, and I was looking at it today because the Braves are now only 6.5 back of the Phillies, which is not insignificant. But when you've gained, to JJ's point, you've gained 40% of that back in a matter of just. I mean, they've gained 2 games back, they've gained 2 games in the last 3 days.
Yeah.
But the other thing too that's interesting, Atlanta has already played 7 more road games than Philadelphia. So the schedules moving forward, Atlanta's going to have way more games at home than the Phillies will. They do play 7 more times. 4 of those games are in Philadelphia. But when you look at it, there are some reasons for optimism, maybe, that the Braves can at least push Philadelphia maybe to the final weekend. And who knows? Maybe they can overtake them. I mean, weren't the Braves down
the Mets a couple years ago?
Yeah, and they came. I mean,
and
the Phillies have a better pedigree than the Mets do. But
yes,
but
I'm with you on that.
Think
like
they
the
can
Braves,
make a run at the division. Still.
Absolutely, they've won 6 in a row.
Well, that's kind of it. I mean,
it's in the back of their mind. They know they can win.
Yes, and it's in the back of everybody else's mind that they know the Braves can win too. They're just they're one of those teams. The Steelers are a little bit like this. Mm-hmm. Even there's teams that they don't look very good, and they don't look like themselves. And you look up in the 3rd week of September, and they're either a game out or a game up. They're just the
Steelers are a perfect example. Last season, especially.
Yeah, they're kind of that team, and I think if I'm the Phillies, I think the Phillies have a really good team. I'm surprised they're struggling like they are, but I don't want to look in the rearview mirror because it's if it's the Mets, it doesn't bother me as much because the Mets don't have any recent success. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to look in the rearview mirror, and it's the Braves. I just get that sense that the Braves, there's something.
They need to start getting guys back healthy.
Well, that's right.
Fried has to come back for that to happen.
I agree.
Harris has to come back and play center. Soler has to be
good.
What we traded him for. Yeah. And Olsen is starting to get back to that guy. He's hit a bunch of homers recently. Right. So I hope you guys are right. I'm just always going to be a pessimist with all my teams. That's just how I am.
We're all that way.
And I'm looking more at like the Mets, the Padres, like the other wild card teams, because the Braves aren't a lock to get to the playoffs right now. But I have a friend who incessantly texts the group every time the Phillies lose. Yeah. And he's been doing that ever since we were like down 11 games. And I'm just like, stop watching them. Yeah. But now he's like, I told you guys. Yeah. We're coming.
The Phillies have a better team than the Braves, and I'll give JJ credit. He said that before the season even started, that they had a better team than the Braves. But there's a magic to the Braves that a lot of the teams don't have. There just is.
Got to go smash the Marlins.
Yeah. I mean, you got to.
They just traded everybody.
I think Atlanta's next 7 are at home. So big homestand coming up. You need to go 5-2 in those 7. Yeah. And put some pressure.
And the Angels aren't very good, but the Mets have to go out there and play. And the Mariners are 4 games over, and the Phillies have to go out there and play. We'll see. it's just a gut feeling. I'll say this and they'll lose 9 in a row and I'll be an idiot. But
tonight they'll get killed.
But I just have this. I have this feeling. So
I'm with you. I think they're going to push Philadelphia.
They have. So the Phillies don't play tonight. So if the Braves win, it's only 6 games. So that's definitely doable.
All right. So we'll talk a little baseball coming up a little bit. I'm going to talk a little ACC Atlantic Coast Conference. Let me tell you what. You give me the chance to talk about NC State, SMU, and Stanford in the same segment. I'm going in hard.
This is how you know.
I'm going hard.
What a ridiculous league this has become. SMU is actually predicted to finish like 6th in this league.
Yeah, I know.
SMU.
Yeah.
Where would SMU be predicted to finish in the SEC or the Big Ten?
But good point. But I've always said, listen, we have bucket lists. I want to go to Banff, Canada. I've never been to the Grand Canyon. And getting to see Cal at Wake Forest is on that list, okay? I mean, you get to see Cal at Wake Forest. You talk about a brain roll now.
It's a full life.
When they roll into town in front of 23,846 in Winston-Salem, tell me that's not going to be a day to remember.
Grass.
Oh, my goodness, is that a day to remember? Oh, yeah, they have great berms. Day. Great berms
Looks like a good day out. Probably can like smoke cigarettes because no one cares.
Oh, my goodness. There's a lot of things to talk about. Glad you're with us on the program today. We will talk all kind of college football, baseball, and a whole lot more. But after this first time out, let's take a look at the Jaguars. One weekend, surprises, good, bad, and indifferent. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Now, a 1010XL Summer Olympic Update brought to you by
USAPark.net Airport Parking.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2024 Summer Games. The United States looking for a 6th consecutive Olympic gold medal in the women's gymnastics all-around. Simone Biles has jumped back into the lead after a terrific routine on the balance beam. Suni Lee, the defending gold medalist, is right now tied for 4th. Brazil's Rebecca Andrade is 2nd. 1 rotation left. The floor exercise, Biles will be last. Only twice in Olympic history have 2 American women finished on the podium in the all-around event at the same games. 1 hour from now, the U.S. women's basketball team takes on Belgium, looking for a 57th straight Olympic win. Gold for the United States in rowing, the men's 4 for the first time since 1960. That is 6 gold for the U.S. in Paris. They lead all countries with 31 medals total. With this Summer Games update, I'm Brad Heller, Westwood One Sports.
DQ presents... Picture this. Picture the DQ $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Not just a cheeseburger, a bacon cheeseburger, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. All full-sized, all for $7. Because everything's better with bacon. Everything's also better with a side of fries, a refreshing drink, and a sundae to finish. Yum. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Now for a limited time on the $7 meal deal lineup. DQ. Happy tastes good.
At Lowe's, save big every day. Right now, get a free pneumatic nailer when you buy a pallet of Metabo HPT nails. And there's more. Save 10% on select shingles when you buy in bulk. Visit us in-store or online for low prices on the materials you need. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
Are you worried about your roof? Protect it with a lifetime shingle transferable warranty with Universal Roof and Contract. Save up to $1,250 on your roof replacement, plus flexible financing up to 15 years. This expires August 31st and restrictions apply. Call 855-ROOF-HELP or visit universalroof.com to schedule your free roof inspection. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality product and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
When all you have is a hammer, everything is a nail. I'm Dr. George Bari, and like me, I know you have been bombarded with PRP and stem cell treatments from companies that promise the world and charge prices to match. Or the surgeon that convinced you the only way to treat your injuries through surgery. At Bari Orthopedics, we offer the best PRP treatment on the market with prices that won't cost you an arm and a leg. We also have the expertise to treat your injury surgically if that is what it entails. We can discuss all surgical and non-surgical options with you and make sure you get the best treatment available. Come see me, Dr. George Bari at Bari Orthopedics.
Hey, Jacksonville Koozies, it's me, Soccer Sam, for Salvatore's Pizza. Rochester, New York's favorite pizza is now open in Jacksonville, Florida, Tapestry Park at the Loft Hotel Plaza. Daily $10 deals, dine in with beer and wine, and delivery at salvatores.com. The famous Formoso family brings Salvatore's Pizza, Rochester's favorite pizza, including our 32-piece sheet pizza for your next event. Go with me, baby. Salvatores.com.
Nothing came easy, and he wouldn't have it any other way.
It's blue-collar line of scrimmage football. I'm Tom McManus, and I join Jaguars Today, Fridays from 10 to noon.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Hey, folks, Curtis Dvorak here. Are you a golfer, pickleball player, or a concert lover? Well, if you said yes to any of those, join me for the first ever Patriot Games on Saturday, September 21st, at the Yards in Ponte Vedra. All proceeds benefit Operation New Uniform, which is a transition training program for service members, veterans, and military spouses. For more information, visit onuvets.org. That's onuvets.org. Hope to see you there.
Folks, this summer, happiness is a new Chevy. That's right, a new Chevy Silverado from Nimnick Chevrolet. Get this. This month, you can save up to $8,500 off a new Silverado. Or, well-qualified buyers can get rates as low as 1.9% financing on all new Silverado 1500 model. And that's with the largest inventory on the ground, outstanding cash incentives, and the best price guarantee. Your perfect truck is waiting for you at Nimnick Chevrolet. Now remember, Nimnick will always give you top dollar for your trade, and for a limited time, up to an additional $2,250 in trade assistance. Want an even better deal? Well, ask about Demo Model for even deeper discounts. You can shop online 24/7 at nimnickchevy.com or visit the dealership conveniently located at the corner of Park and Cabot. This summer, happiness is a new Chevy. So head to Nimnick Chevrolet today. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Veterans, did you know VA mortgage rates have plummeted and you can now access up to 100% of your home's equity and turn that into cash right now? Hey, it's Roger Moore, President and CEO of Loan Pronto, announcing our VA Equity Advantage program. This VA offer can get you $50,000, $70,000, $100,000 cash out with no junk fees and no hassle, with APRs in the 5s. You can pay off all those credit cards, personal loans, car loans, and get one easy-to-manage payment. Veterans we help save on average $850 per month. And listen, if you're a veteran with a current mortgage rate over 6.25%, we can do a streamlined refinance with no income verification and no appraisal, saving you hundreds a month. At Loan Pronto, we respect what you've done for our country, and we show it. Call now and ask about our special VA Equity Advantage program. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org. Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
The Sunshine State says it all in the nickname. That summer sun in Florida can take its toll on an air conditioning unit and send your electric bill through the roof. Florida Home AC can help you handle the heat with a brand new AC unit with low monthly payments and over $3,000 in federal tax credits on select systems. So this summer, don't sweat it out. Cool off with Florida Home AC, the official AC company of the Jaguars. Call them today, 777-4300, and check out their tremendous savings on a brand new AC system.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
We do thank our friends from Stanley Pools. Man, they've been building pools around here since 1988. They've done ours. They service ours. We love our pool. Boy, oh boy, do you love it this time of year. Thanks to Greg Stanley and all the folks at Stanley Pools, the best in the business and have been for a long, long time. Frangie and Carlyon, JJ LaSelva with you. We're here 2 to 4 now every Thursday until the end of football season. And right after this, right after us, Jaguars Happy Hour, including the Doug Peterson Show, comes up. So don't turn that dial. I think that's what they used to say in the old days. On your don't touch that dial. Don't touch that dial, Hays. Don't touch the dial.
I used to love it when like Richard Dawson would say when he would go to break, we'll be back after these important messages.
That's perfectly him, wasn't it? Jaguars so far, I got a bunch of notes down here. 1 week in, what do you think? What surprised you? What didn't surprise you? Better than you expected? Worse than you expected? Go.
I think my first impression is that 20-0 is very much in play here.
Okay. Well, yeah, and that would be doesn't surprise you.
Yeah, I think they look good. I mean, the offense obviously struggled until they got into pads, but again, I attribute that more to the core offensive guys are going into year 3. And I just think there's more familiarity on that side. I think they have a better understanding of pacing. So when the pads went on, the intensity ramped up and the offense, the execution greatly improved. So whereas I think defensively, because Ryan Nielsen is new and obviously he's going to be the defensive mastermind, Doug Peterson, is obviously going to let him do his job and be more focused on the offense. So I think defensively, you're trying to make a good impression. You're trying to prove to Nielsen and his staff, look, you can count on me. I need to be playing. I need to be on the field. So I think offensively they have found their footing and they're in a good place. I think defensively they've got a chance to really be special. I don't think 2017 special, but that's like one of the best defenses the league has produced in 20 years. But I think they could absolutely be the second best defense that we've seen here in the last decade. If what we've seen in camp is an indicator, because to me it all starts with that front. Devon Hamilton is once again looking like he is going to be as close to unblockable as any interior defensive lineman that they've had here. And then you look at what Josh Hines-Allen, from a conditioning standpoint, what he looks like. Talk about somebody who's not at all complacent. He's in better shape, if that's possible, than he was last year. And I think Trayvon Walker is getting ready to have a huge year. So I think a lot of offenses that go against the Jaguars, offensive line is an issue for basically any team in the NFL outside of maybe 3 or 4. So I think most weeks the Jaguars are going to have the advantage in the trenches, their defensive front versus your offensive line. And then they have some nice pieces beyond that defensive front. Foye Oluokun, reliable player, tackling machine. Devin Lloyd, I think, will be a much better fit in this scheme. Tyson Campbell, big-time corner. Andre Sisco, a player that I still think has upside that's coming on. And then you get to the Antonio Johnsons, the Jarian Jones. What can Ronald Darby be here? I think defensively, the overall impression that I've had through 7 days of training camp is defensively, I think they could give people a lot of problems.
And I got a lot of thoughts similar to some of those. The first thing that jumped off the page for me one weekend is the size of the team, the size and the length. They feel longer and stronger to me just looking at them than they have in a while. The 17 team looked like that. The 17 team was long and physical and athletic looking. Jalen Ramsey was a big, long, physical corner. Calais, a big, long, physical guy. Dante Fowler is pure edge guys go, was built and cut. Malik Jackson was 6'7" as an interior. You know, remember how that team looked long.
Yeah, you had Miles. Yeah. Boye.
Right. They looked the part.
Absolutely. This
team, I'm not going to say they're going to play like that group, to your point, but I think they look long and physical and thick and athletic. And that's different than I thought they looked. I mean, I get on the plane with these guys every week. They look different to me a little bit. That's first. Second, last year's drafted guys that didn't impact look like they're going to impact me. Tank Bigsby really looks the part to me. He looks lean. He looks leaner than he was. He looks cut. Parker Washington really did have that offseason that everybody talked about. You can see he looks like a different guy. Brenton Strange is a little more fluid to me. I don't know how much he's going to be in their game plan because Evan Ingram is so counted on, and they've got a number of tight ends, but he looks different. So the second thing to me, last year I haven't seen Tyler Lacey as much up close, but I think last year's drafted guys to me look a little bit different. I'll be interested to see Lacey and Abdullah and some of the others, but that's the second thing for me. The third thing for me, and I probably could have listed this first to the point you made, they look like they're going to be good on defense. Just the way they're going through, I don't know if they're covering closer or there's more of an emphasis on it, but it looks like, or they're batting more balls down and they're on top of the receivers more than you typically would see this early in a practice. It almost seems like the defense had a point to make, and maybe Ryan Nielsen, being new to this and being new here, has that. So I think that kind of stands out. So the three things to me, the most positive things, the team overall looks longer, stronger, more athletic than they have in the past. Again, just off on the hoof, just watching them, they look more like that 17 group overall. Last year's draft class, Tank Bigsby first and foremost, Strange, Parker Washington, some of the guys who did not impact them, I'm getting a hunch they're going to be far from bust.
Yeah, Braswell's had a nice camp so far.
Christian Braswell. So last year's drafted guys, and I think the defense overall looks like it's going to be a physical good group. Those are the positive things to me that are maybe a little different than I expected coming in. And the negatives, it's not a negative, but the balls hit the ground a lot. The balls hit the ground a lot. Not as much like you said when they're in pads, but the balls hit the ground more than I can remember it hitting the ground in the first week of a practice when nobody's in pads until the last day or so. Part of that is the same thing I said a minute ago, is the defense is more physical, but the ball's hitting the ground a little bit more than I thought. I haven't seen anybody, and you can't really tell yet, that strikes me as they're going to be helpful to back up the edge guys. Josh Hines, Allen, and Trayvon Walker are going to be good. I haven't seen enough from Trevis Gibson. They just added an edge guy. I hope there's enough there because you need more than two guys rushing the passer from the exterior. So I think that probably, if there's a concern, that's the closest to it. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff that I expected. Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker really looked the part. Travis Etienne and Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk looks like he picked right up before he got hurt. I think Trevor looks good. I attribute, Trevor had one bad day, but I attribute the offensive struggles more to people not open than I do to Trevor missing them. That doesn't mean he was perfect. He wasn't. He was off some. But I don't remember even those days when they were struggling, when the ball kept hitting the ground, that a guy's running wide open and Trevor missed him. I'm not saying that hadn't happened every once in a while, but my remembrance of that isn't, how did he miss that guy? How did he throw that ball behind him? How did he overthrow that guy? It wasn't that at all. It was more, there's nothing there and he's not able to find anybody. Either he's not finding them or they're just not open. So those are the things for me. The bottom line is nothing has changed my belief that they've got one of the good teams in the league. They're in the top half of the league from a roster talent power poll standpoint. I like what I've seen. I can't wait to see them play somebody. I think more than in a while, I'm so confident of what's out there, but I'll feel better when I see them go head-to-head against somebody else. Even if Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey and whoever don't play in the first game, they're going against somebody else's team.
Yeah, it is going to be a lot of fun. We're about a week away from it getting really exciting because, to your point, they'll have the preseason opener against the Chiefs. Then you've got Tampa Bay coming in for joint practice. So, we're definitely going to find out a little bit more about them when we see them go up against, two good teams. We'll see who Kansas City elects to play in that game. I would agree with you. We probably aren't going to see their stars, but, we'll see what Andy Reid decides. Obviously, they're going to see Tampa Bay's fastball because they're going to see it in 2 days of joint practices. And Tampa Bay's got a good team. And so, that'll be a good test for them. I'd say from a disappointment standpoint, Eric Armstead still being on PUP is a disappointment for me. I could have understood him missing the first 2 or 3 of these things. The fact that he's now missed 7 it starts to concern me. Hopefully they'll activate him today and he'll be out there in a limited capacity tomorrow. I mean, we really don't know what to expect in terms of the timeline. But this goes back to Doug Peterson and OTA saying, I think he's going to be fine for training camp. Well, now he's missed 7 days. You are still a ways away from going to Miami for the opener. But if he misses, let's say, another week, it starts to get tough because you're not going to really want to introduce him during the joint practices with Tampa. So then you start to get in that gray area of, well, we're kind of beyond camp. We're trying to now sort of ratchet it down a little bit to make sure we're healthy for the opener. And he's not really gotten a lot of opportunity to get the rust off from a physicality standpoint. So, it's not hit the panic button yet, but I'd like to think Armstead will get out there fairly soon so that he can participate in some of those things. I think it's, even for a player that has played as much as he has, you want to be in football shape by the time you get to Miami. And I'm not saying he's out of runway,
I'm with you. Yeah.
but I'm starting to see the end of the runway for Armstead to be, I think, 100% football shape, ready to rock for the Dolphins game.
Yeah, no, I think it's a fair point. If there's one kind of person that can miss a lot of time, it's a savvy veteran that knows how to play. And certainly he qualifies as that. But I agree with you. 2 things. The most important thing you said, conditioning. No matter how smart you are, no matter how much you know your body, no matter how much you know the scheme, there's a difference between knowing it and going out there and actually doing it and getting your body in football shape. I agree with that. And it is a new team, new scheme, new players next to you. One thing about if you're a defensive lineman lined up next to another defensive lineman, you need to know his tendencies.
Absolutely.
When you have loops or games on, you need to know how long it takes him to get into that loop of that game, and you can't know that if you're standing next to a guy against with whom you've never played. And so, I think they would tell you. I think Eric would tell you he needs to get on the field. So it'll be fun. Been a fun first week. More to come when they get back on the field. We'll take a break. When we come back, Hays has headlines. They're next. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
15,000 workers. I'm Brian Rose from Remedy Staffing. We survey 15,000 blue-collar workers each year to better understand what drives quality and dependability in our workforce. The survey shows when looking for a new job, the initial pay rate, job security, and safety while working are the most important factors for hourly workers. If you're an employer and would like to learn more about the voice of the blue-collar worker, please call us at 904-528-1933.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
This patriotic chant mirrors the enthusiastic efforts our American athletes have dedicated to their quest for a gold medal at this summer's Olympics in Paris. USAPark.net Airport Parking is your safe and secure parking for when you fly out of JIA. No matter where you're going, whether you're traveling to the Olympics to support our athletes or just visiting Grandma, remember to park at USAPark.net.
Bueller Aaron Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's challenger, a paint color namer from Jacksonville, Florida. Meet Irving Stapler.
Hi, Howie.
So the next round is word association. I'll say a word and you give me the first word you think of. Engagement ring.
Jeweler.
Gas station.
Fueler.
Aaron Burr.
Dueler.
Air conditioning.
Wow. Jeez. It's a toughie.
Come on, Irv. The sponsor's going to kill me now.
Oh, Bueller.
That's right, Irv. If your AC is struggling through the summer heat, the first name you should think of for fast, friendly, 5-star service is Bueller Air and Plumbing. The name to know to make sure you are cool.
Have a beer, Irv.
Cooler.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser start the week by giving the ball to the best back and do ball.
And off, Fred Taylor.
Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein and Robbins DUI defense firm on 1010XL.
This is Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. We've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino canceled because real life came calling. Well, MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here, and it's changing the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your home. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action is in your hands. I love the roulette. It's so much fun. It is so easy, and you can't find it anywhere that's better than MyBookie. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL and a revamped loyalty program ensuring a host of exclusive VIP perks. Don't miss out on the revamped MyBookie Casino. Use promo code 1010XL. Don't forget that. The more you play, the more you win. Only with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experience, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams July Summer Sale and get 35% off paints and stains from July 26th through August 5th. With prices starting at $31.84, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your bedroom, living room, or home office, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
For a chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to the Coke Zero Sugar 400 August 24th at Daytona, answer this question. Who was on the pole position for last year's Coke Zero Sugar 400? Text the driver's last name to 641-1010.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. I know that hearing another ad for Jacksonville's best promo company interrupts Jacksonville's best sports talk, but at least it isn't a political ad. Check us out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Travis Etienne embraces the privilege of playing with his college quarterback in the NFL, and it's one of the reasons he and Lawrence are such a dynamic duo. Here's Etienne on his longtime teammate.
That's what I love about Trev. I feel like nothing much really changed. I feel like he's still the same humble guy that he's been to being. I feel like he never changed who he was in his heart. And I feel like that's why guys out here just able to go out there and just play for him, because I feel like he's a great guy, great person, and I feel he's going to be a great father. So I feel like I just love to just be with him, and I feel like that's why we're able to go out there and just get behind him through the ups and downs and be able to just keep pushing forward.
After winning a national championship together at Clemson, the two have been working towards the same goal now in the NFL. The two are ready to take their chemistry up a notch this season. I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round.
It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell and Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
Welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie is here. We've got JJ LaSelva. I am Hays Carlyon. Had lunch with my good buddy Holt yesterday. We had a great time getting ready for some college football and Jaguars football. So lots to talk about. Give them a call at 251-1111. You need them. Hopefully you won't, but if you do get hurt or a loved one, that is who you need to call, 251-1111. That is Harrell and Harrell. All right, let's get it. We've got football tonight, Frank, the Hall of Fame game, Texans versus Bears. Kickoff is at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I think the next time there's not football on a Thursday, we're going to be in mid-January, right?
Love it.
Is it something like that? I love it. You know what? I love the way it feels. I love the stadium in Canton. We were just there not long ago. I don't think you're going to see a lot of star players tonight, but that's okay. You're going to see the logos and the unis and the NFL and the music, and it's here, bro, and I'm glad it's here. I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll get our first glimpse of the new kickoff rules. So I don't expect there to be a ton of scoring, but when there is, we'll certainly get a look at the new revamped kickoff rules. So we'll see if the Bears or Texans do anything. I would imagine it'll be very vanilla, but still it'll be cool to at least get our first look at it. Tampa Bay has paid left tackle Tristan Wirfs, making him the top paid offensive lineman in league history. It's a 5-year extension worth $140 million. Wirfs gets $88 million in guaranteed money.
Boy, people get paid today, don't they? And I know he's a really good player. It just, and forgive me, my friend Tony Baselli, he can't hear me because he's in Canton. But it just feels like a lot more money because of the position. I don't know why I feel that way. It wouldn't feel like that much money, obviously, a quarterback or even a receiver. Boy, that feels like a lot of money for although it's one of the most important positions in football. I get it. I do get it. It just feels like a lot, but he's a really good player. Good for them.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting because the Jaguars, as we know, are going to be in that market over the next couple of years. Anton Harrison has a couple of years until he can get paid, but if he continues to shine, that's going to be something. And look, Cam Robinson, Walker Little in the final year. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, but this is a contract that I don't think it'll serve as a sounding board for Cam or for Walker, but at least gives you some idea of what you have to pay for a really quality left tackle in this league now. It is certainly a lot of investment. Let's get to college football. Georgia coach Kirby Smart kicked receiver Ra Thomas off the team a week after he was arrested for multiple charges, including cruelty to children. Thomas started 8 games for the Bulldogs last season, catching 23 passes for 383 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, it didn't have much choice about that. And you know what? That's one of the ugly sides of college football. When you have 85 people together, 105 people together, some are going to mess up. Kirby did the right thing.
Let's get to the Olympics. Another gold for Simone. Simone Biles has just won the women's gymnastics individual all-around competition with a 59.131. Unbelievable. She becomes the first gymnast to win multiple all-around titles in non-consecutive Olympics. So an incredible career for Simone Biles and just extraordinary.
To win multiple titles in non-consecutive Olympics, that's pretty amazing. That means over an 8-year period you were the best in the world. That's really amazing. One of the great. There's a lot of them now. One of the great American gymnasts of all time. She really is.
No doubt about it. In Olympic golf, Xander Schauffele continues his strong play with a 6 under 65. Schauffele is the defending gold medalist and 2-time major champion this season. So an incredible start for Xander. Hideki Matsuyama is the leader at 8 under after a brilliant 63. And Scotty Scheffler is right in there. He shot a 4 under 67. So some big-time American names at the top of the board.
Yeah, ones you would expect, right? Ones you would expect, and I'm not surprised at all. And again, golf still doesn't feel very Olympic to me, but if you're going to have it, let's have our guys do well.
Staying with the Olympics, the ACC continued to show what an utter joke it is by claiming Katie Ledecky as ACC made in a social media post after she cruised to gold yesterday in the 1500 free. Ledecky attended Stanford, which will compete in the ACC this upcoming school year for the first time.
And listen, I know you hire a lot of young people to manage your social media. I get it. I do. But that's really bad. Katie Ledecky never competed in the ACC. You can't take someone who's never competed in the ACC, who swam for a school who's never competed in the ACC, and claim the championship. Again, social media people are young people just trying to trying to get attention. I get it. Bad look. By the way, speaking of Ledecky, it was on while we were on. We were kind of doing the show. So last night they showed it. They showed the tape delay. I didn't realize. Did you watch it?
Yeah.
How far ahead she was?
It's incredible.
It was almost comical.
It is comical.
It was almost like she really wasn't in the race with those other. I mean, you got to watch it. I'm not going to do it. No matter how I describe it, it won't do justice to how she's coming. They
had to expand the camera,
right?
To get her nearest competitor in.
But to watch it, and we were watching it on the air, but then to watch it last night to see how far she's making the turn. She's halfway back to the pool. They're meeting halfway. The second place person is meeting her halfway.
Yeah.
It's amazing somebody. I mean, this is the whole world competing.
Right.
This isn't just the Keystone Heights Championship. The whole world is competing, and nobody's anywhere close. It really was amazing watching it.
There's another cool video of Ledecky out there, and I'm sure it's a year or two old, maybe older, but have you seen the video of Katie Ledecky swimming with the glass of chocolate milk on her head?
I have. I saw
that. Is incredible.
That's how still she
keeps her head.
Right. No,
she literally swims a lap.
Right.
If you haven't seen the video, with a full glass of chocolate milk resting on her head.
Yeah, she's got headgear on.
Yeah.
And then it's on top of the headgear, and it never moves. But that was amazing. But I'm telling you, Hays, I watched. I said, how can this be that there's the whole world's competing, the whole world, and nobody's within a lap of her? Amazing stuff.
Just brilliant. Yeah, absolute dominance. Let's get to Major League Baseball. The Braves have gained 2 games on the Phillies to cut the lead in the NL East to 6.5. Atlanta has also played 7 more road games than Philadelphia this season. The teams do play 7 more times. 4 are in Philadelphia, so that doesn't help Atlanta. But Frank, could the Braves be making a charge here?
This is like we said this at the top of the program. Yes, the answer is yes. This is almost like it's like Alabama. You've got them down, and this is the year they're down. But all of a sudden, something happens, and they beat LSU, and then all of a sudden you look up and go, oh, boy. Nobody wants to play them in that SEC championship game, right? And I think this is how they feel. I just have this feeling they winning those last 2 games against the Mets, I think, was critical. I think when we all left them for dead, right, JJ? We all left them for dead. I think winning those 2 games against the Mets, now having this series against the Marlins is critical. It really is.
Oh, yeah. You got to win 3 out of 4, really. You got to win definitely tonight. No other NL teams are really playing that you're, chasing or competing with in the wild card. So, yeah, Charlie Morton, who's been the worst starter for the Braves, got to step up tonight. Got to beat the Marlins, who have traded everyone on their team.
In NBA news, Gordon Hayward retires after 14 seasons. Really good career, made a bunch of money. But I will always remember Hayward as the former Butler star, nearly draining one of the most amazing shots in NCAA tournament history with a half-court buzzer beater that would have taken down Duke in the final.
For people that don't remember, he was on the near sideline. He let it fly it was almost the minus side of half court. And when it was in the air, you thought it was going in. You really thought it was going. I said, he's going to make that. He's going to beat Duke with a half court shot. And he had the brutal injury. And his first game for the Celtics had just that brutal injury, and he never came back from it. He's a guy I thought was going to be a star, and I still contend if he hadn't have had that injury, he would have had a really, really, really good career. Way better than he wound up having.
Absolutely. Let's get it to pop culture, because on this date, back in 1981, this happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll.
This is it. Welcome to MTV Music Television, the world's first 24-hour stereo video music channel. Now, just moments ago, all of the VJs and the crew here at MTV collectively hit our executive producer, Sue Steinberg, over the head with a bottle of champagne, and behold, a new concept is born. The best of TV combined with the best of radio. Now, starting right now, you'll never look at music the same way again.
And
wow.
That was well said and absolutely 100% accurate. MTV launched on this day back in 1981. A remarkable slice of Americana.
Downtown Julie Brown.
Yep.
Martha Quinn.
Yep.
I liked Martha Quinn.
Yeah, it's great.
It's kind of a Martha
Perfect
Quinn.
girl next door.
I was kind of a Martha Quinn fan.
You had Nina Blackwood.
Nina Blackwood,
You had,
for sure.
I think that might have been Mark Goodman.
Yeah.
You had Alan Hunter were the originals.
I will tell you, I miss the way music felt when MTV was videos and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
I missed the way, nobody likes it like you did. You're like the czar of the video age.
It's fantastic.
But you're not a Teen Mom fan?
Yeah. No.
You're not a Jersey Shore fan?
The dance, whatever they are. Abby the dance person.
That's TLC. That's a great show.
Oh, that's
I'm not going to sit here and let you talk bad about Dance Moms.
Of course, the Dance Mom. That's not MTV?
No, that's a phenomenal show.
Abby
Lee.
Abby
did some prison time.
She's in Pittsburgh, Abby.
Yeah.
I know. I realize videos were awesome.
They really were.
And that 80s, that stretch of 80s music that was so 80s, so 80s.
There was an innocence to it.
Yeah.
Because it was just kind of feel good music. It wasn't, it wasn't political commentary as good as that music can be.
Right.
It wasn't, the grunge. And this is my generation, but the anti-fame, I hate myself and I want to die vibe, of Nirvana and stuff like that. It wasn't incredibly hard like some of the acts that came, later on, like Nine Inch Nails. Again, as good as those bands were, the early MTV era, that was, your Prince, Cyndi Lauper, Huey Lewis, Bruce Springsteen, David Bowie, The Police.
Do you know the first
Duran
video
Duran.
that was played?
Yeah, it was the Buggles. Video killed the radio star.
Exactly.
How about? I did not know that, but I do know this. When I get home today, I'm going to go find a polo and turn up the collar. Okay,
yeah, there you go.
It's the first thing I'm going to do when I get home.
Best music video all time, by the way, in my opinion, Peter Gabriel's "Sledgehammer."
And I would say I would say if you took votes, it would get as many votes as any. Yeah, mine's Rio, but
Rio's a great one.
But I'll bet Sledgehammer is the most known video for being a video. Would you agree with that?
I would.
So I think you're right.
Yeah, very creative, brilliant stuff. All right, we will get you out on this musical note. We're celebrating the best songs of the summer from 1984 this week. Huey Lewis and the News gets on the board today with The Heart of Rock and Roll. This was the third single from their breakthrough album, Sports. The Heart of Rock and Roll peaked at number 6 on the Billboard Top 100. So we've now spotlighted When Doves Cry, Dancing in the Dark, Jump for My Love, and we've got one more big one tomorrow for you.
I love it. I love this song. I love Huey Lewis. I've told you a great story about this song.
Yes, you have.
That I missed out on seeing it sung by Huey.
Yeah. Please tell it. It's a great story.
I will tell you what I will do. I won't miss up the music. We come back. I will one more time tell the Heart of Rock and Roll story from Huey Lewis. Great job on headlines as always. Speaking of that, we'll talk a little college football. That's next. We start the next hour. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Munoz became the first Bengals player to be enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
This is Anthony Munoz, Pro Football Hall of Famer, and you're listening to 1010XL Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Hey, it's Matt Hays, and there's nothing quite like the ease and breeze of First Coast summers. Unless, that is, you have a clogged drain or your hot water heater doesn't work. But that's where the experts at Fenwick Home Services have you covered. Fenwick offers 24/7 same-day service and can fix any plumbing problem you have. With free same-day estimates and guaranteed repairs, the pros at Fenwick Home Services get the job done right and get it done right the first time. You can also save on future emergencies with $50 off any repair. Click it or call day or night. FenwickHomeservices.com.
What makes a Honda certified pre-owned vehicle so special? 182-point inspection, 24/7 roadside assistance, first-year free oil changes, and a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty for carefree driving backed by American Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about letting things roll off of your back. So often we can make big deals out of things that are not really big deals. we can allow them to steal the joy of our day. But let me remind you that don't allow anyone or anything to steal the joy of today. Go out today not letting little things steal the big things that God has in store for you.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Now that's what I call high-quality H2O. If you want high-quality water throughout your home, call your local water boy. We install equipment to solve any water problem. WaterBoyJAX.com.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. Hurricanes happen in Florida. That's not news. But what happens even more often than hurricanes are home break-ins. And if security is important to you, you might want to look into hurricane-rated impact windows.
What you may not know is that hurricane-rated impact windows not only help protect your home in case of a hurricane, but they also offer another level of security for your home.
Have you seen those videos on YouTube that show people trying to break through an impact window? A thief is way too lazy to spend his energy trying to break through one of our impact windows. That's why he doesn't have a real job like you. He'd rather break your non-impact window while you're at work. Window World has high-quality, very affordable hurricane-rated impact windows to help protect your home from hurricanes and from lazy thieves.
Call us today at 904-443-7001. Get a free estimate and see for yourself. You save energy, get more security, and the windows add value to your home. With all Window World windows, you get the best guarantee in the window replacement business. Window World, simply the best for less.
And thank you for your business.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
David Lane here again for Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. After several surgeries for age-old issues, mainly my back and shoulders, there's no doubt that Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is my sustaining resource for living pain-free. Take it from me, and I'm being really honest here, there's no better orthopedic facility here in Jacksonville.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjax.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Former Jaguars corner and first-year head football coach at Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows, K-12, Aaron Beasley here. Are you looking for an A-rated K-12 school prioritizing academics, arts, and athletics? Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows offers a rigorous curriculum to develop strong minds with an additional focus on growing good hearts. DCSB has been an A school for 8 years, and our tuition is free. Now enrolling. Apply at baymeadowscharter.org.
If you're searching for a new fence installation, challenge yourself to find a fence company with more positive online reviews than Superior Fence and Rail. With over 3,000 reviews and a 4.9 out of 5 review range, Superior Fence and Rail is, well, superior. So take the online challenge or let their professional team show you what superior service looks like. Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Mortgage rates are down. Yep, they've been dropping big time. So it's a great time to call Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's got APRs in the 5s. So if you got stuck with a high rate last year and you want to refinance, this is a great time to call and lower your payment. Or it can use this opportunity to get cash out of your home's equity and pay off those credit cards, personal loans, car loans, other high rate debt. Loan Pronto can help you use these lower rates to get the cash you need in a matter of days. You can do a full refi, or you can do an Equity Express line of credit. Homeowners who call Loan Pronto typically cut their monthly payments by $850. Bottom line, your home value's way up, mortgage rates have come down, making this a great time to act. So call today for a free 30-second rate quote. You may be able to skip your next 2 house payments by calling 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval, MLS, consumeraccess.org.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. Brought to you by USA Park. FSU commit Jacksonville native Mandarin High School class of 2025 three-star quarterback Carmel Jones Jr. joined the drill this morning and spoke on FSU recruiting him harder than anyone.
Been recruiting me for about 3 years now to start, and they were the first school that was really on me, like really, really hard. The college NCAA rules, when I'm younger, they can't really text me directly, so they have to text our coaches to call them or to reach out, and they were really making that consistent effort to do that, and I think that's a big thing, and no other really school is going as hard as they were.
Game 2 for the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp and the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs was suspended last night in the bottom of the 4th inning due to inclement weather. They will pick up this game tonight at 5:05, followed by Game 3 afterwards down at 1-1 Financial Ballpark. It's 92 degrees at 3 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
I'm going to go ahead and make an admission to you guys. I say an admission. You guys are my friends, so I'll tell you stuff first. I'm going to tell both of you this before I tell the world. I'm taking up fencing.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I'm going to come in one day and just fence you.
Oh, then I'm in trouble.
I'm going to have the headgear on.
Yeah.
I want the headgear and the white jumpsuit on. What do you think? JJ, I think it would fit my skill set, fencing. You think?
I don't know too much about it. That's the sword fighting, right?
I may just walk down the road fencing. Yeah. Fencing, nobody in particular, just fencing. What's that guy
I'm sure
doing?
That'll go over well.
What's that guy doing? He's fencing.
Yeah, sure.
We got they get the headgear on. Just this guy walking down the street fencing.
I don't understand why they have like a string attached to you.
I never even noticed that. They do.
Yeah, to your back.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Do you have to wear white to fence? What if a guy showed up like in blue?
Maybe is it like Wimbledon? Where you got to wear white?
Oh, could you show up in? What if?
Oh, is that because it's easier for them to see? Like
no, they don't have to see if they hit the guy because it's a buzzer thing.
Is it?
Unlike the NFL, they have a chip.
So fencing can figure this out, but the NFL can't.
Exactly.
But by the way, good job playing Sledgehammer, JJ.
Very well
fantastic.
done. You can't stop one by him.
But I think fencing would be good. I wonder if you, in all seriousness, I wonder if you wanted to take up fencing, if there's like a place anywhere around here where you can do
I can, joking aside, to your point.
Guaranteed.
And I'm sure there is too, but it's not like you can drive down the road and there's this place does jiu-jitsu and this place does. You don't see that.
I've never seen that.
You don't see that. Yeah. So my Huey Lewis story, since I told you I'd tell it for the 17th, the guy said, Frank, really going to tell the story again? I'm going to tell the story again. So we are... the people that have heard the story 30 times, I apologize.
It doesn't take long.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. We are on the road. Tourette and I are doing Bedlam, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma. We're staying in Oklahoma City. And we have one guy that does our display, and he's got this big Xbox display, and this guy Josh drives all over the country and takes it around. He's a 30-something-year-old guy he was a single guy that used to just drive this trailer around and drink. So we got back one time, and we're in Oklahoma City having some beers, and in the bar, I go up to bed to my room. Tourette goes up a little bit later to his room. And which finds out later that Huey Lewis was playing in a nearby little arena and was staying at the same hotel and was in the bar drinking afterwards. And our guy, Josh, many, many, many beers into the night, he's kind of crazy anyway, goes up to Huey and goes, "Hey, you're Huey Lewis. You're Huey, like you're Huey." And Huey's kind of nodding, trying to avoid the guy. "No, you're Huey Lewis. You're like you're Huey. You're like really Huey Lewis. You're like Huey Lewis." And finally, the story goes, Huey did everything he could to avoid him while he's also drinking. And the next thing you know, about an hour later, as they close the bar, Josh and Huey are standing on the bar singing Heart of Rock and Roll, and I'm up in my room, missed the whole thing. And I missed the whole thing. They all told all the guys told us about it, and we missed it. So that's one of the great regrets of my life. I missed Huey Lewis and our guy Josh standing on a bar at the Oklahoma City Hilton, I think it was, right there on the river, singing Heart of Rock and Roll. So there's that.
That's great.
That's a great story. I'm such a dumbass that I missed it. The poll is out from the ACC Media Days. And they have picked their order of finish. Did you see the order of finish?
I did. I don't have it in front of me, though. But, yes, I did see it yesterday.
FSU 1, Clemson 2, Miami 3. This has to be as high as Miami's been picked in that thing,
in a long time, I would say, yeah.
NC State 4, Louisville 5. So 4 and 5 in your best in your league is NC State and Louisville.
Yeah.
SMU comes in at 7. Georgia Tech comes in at 9. The Cal Golden Bears are at 10. So in case you're wondering, that means 7 teams are expected to finish lower than Cal. Let me say that again. I'll go slower. That means they expect 7 teams to finish lower than Cal. Your thoughts, please.
It's a bad league. I mean, I understand why Florida State and Clemson wanted to explore getting out of it. And, well, that's a totally different kettle of fish in terms of that conversation, but it's a bad league. It's only made more so by the acquisitions that the SEC and Big Ten have made. Those conferences are now 8-9 deep of really strong teams, and the ACC just doesn't come close to that. And so, it's just, I think it's going to be a difficult road for that conference, even if they're able to somehow stick together, because the SEC and Big Ten decide, you know what, we're good. We want to see what it looks like in our current makeup in this landscape before we do anything else. But I will say this for the ACC. Look, your champion's probably going to be the 3 seed every year, so you're going to get that bye, and you're going to have a chance to have at least one of your teams make a run. I just think you're going to have years where your champion may be the only team that gets in. I think this year they'll probably get 2, because I think between FSU, Clemson, and Miami, I think 2 of those 3 probably will make it. And maybe if only one of them does, then maybe NC State or Louisville do have great years and they're able to get in. But, I mean, I think routinely they're going to have 2 teams get in while the SEC and Big Ten have 4 teams.
I saw today somebody wrote that there is some pressure, whether it's true or not, that there is some pressure on the Big 12 to take Oregon State and Washington State. Did you see this story?
I have not. That's interesting.
There's some pressure on them. I don't know if it's television pressure, but there's some pressure on them to take Oregon State and Washington State. And if that happens, there is a belief that that would be step 1 to the ACC imploding. The one thing Brett McMurphy told us at the SEC Media Days in Dallas is that the one thing that could hasten FSU, Clemson to the Big Ten or the SEC would not be them just leaving, but the league imploding. And there is the belief by some that could happen. And if that happened there, and I say by some, I read it.
Mm-hmm.
But if it happened, then there is a belief that both the Big Ten and the SEC would get to 20. And what's the SEC has 16 now?
Correct.
And the Big Ten has
18.
So let's assume that happened. 6 teams would then move on to those 2 leagues.
Did the article go into any discussion as to if the Big 12 gains those 2 teams, Oregon State and Washington State, why that would lead to the ACC imploding?
It didn't, and I don't. And in fairness,
because I'm not seeing the correlation.
And in fairness, the article implied that those things would happen together. So maybe it'd be the ACC imploding causing the other. Because you're right, I don't see the connection either. But the article had both possibilities in the same story. How they're connected, it's a great question. I don't remember. But it got me thinking, if 6 of those teams, and by the way, what does the Big 12 have? How many teams do they have now?
I think it's
16.
I think it's at least 16, and it might even be more than that.
They picked up 4. They picked up the 4 from the. I think they got the 12 and then picked up the 4 teams, the Arizona teams and the Utah and Colorado. So I think they were at 12. And I think that's right. It could be more than that, couldn't it?
I think they have 16.
Okay, so I think they got to 12 with UCF and Cincinnati and Houston and Brigham Young, and then I think when they added the next 4,
it is 16.
Okay, so let's assume all 3 get to 20. So let's assume the Big 12 adds 4, the SEC adds 4, and the Big 10 adds 2, all of which would happen if the ACC imploded. Well, if Washington State and Oregon State are 2 of the ones, that means the Big 12 could only add 2 of the ACC teams. The Big 10 could only add 2, and the SEC would add 4, right?
So of the 17 ACC teams,
8 would get
less than half would have a home.
In that instance, half would have a home, and then the others become WAC teams. And if that happened, and again, this is just one story I read, but if that happened, then you would imagine the eight ACC teams that would have a home are Florida State, Clemson, Miami. I would think North Carolina and Virginia because of their geography. And then do NC State and Duke and Virginia Tech come along for the ride because of their proximity to the schools that went in? That would be my guess. And then everybody else is out. So it would be interesting to see whether or not that happens.
It is. The thing that I think has slowed everything down is it seems like the TV networks are kind of stretched pretty thin now.
Well, that's right.
In terms of the money that they're distributing.
And no one's going to take extra teams if they're going to have to split the same pie more ways. I agree with you.
So it seems like until the TV entities are more flush with money and revenue, that may hold everything off because, you're not going to expand unless it's to get more money from your TV partner. So if the TV partners are like, look, we're capped out, which is what it seems like it is.
It does.
Because it's why the SEC didn't go to 9 games. You know, they were expecting to add Texas and Oklahoma and then have their media partners give them more money to go to a 9th game in conference play, and they didn't want to do that. They were like, look, we're not financially prepared to do that. So the SEC, I think, clumsy stayed at 8, which I don't like. I don't think it works well. When you have 16 in your league, you should at least play 9 games.
Yeah.
But I also understand the SEC saying, look, we're not going to give away something for free. We'll wait until we're rewarded financially for adding that 9th conference game to our inventory for these partners.
Yeah, and so and I think they'll ultimately get to that. But you're right. And now, I do think if the ACC imploded, there's dollars that are going to the ACC that then would be spread to all those teams. The only way that the SEC and Greg Sankey told Matt Hays and me this. He told us. Why would we split our pie? Why would we split the same pie more ways? We wouldn't do that. The only way you would do it is if there's more money. Well, there's not going to be more money if a couple teams pull off. They're not. But if the conference implodes, then there's a lot of dollars that were going to the ACC teams that now will go elsewhere. So then there are more dollars. So the only way there's more dollars available is if a conference blows up, which I think is a long shot. And frankly, I hope it doesn't happen. I'm not looking for it to happen. Where do you want to see? Because I want to take a break and come back and talk about the playoffs. But before we get to that, where do you want to see this whole thing land?
I want to see the SEC and Big Ten merge and maybe you pick up. So they've got 16 and 18, so they've got 34.
Yeah.
Maybe add 6.
Get to 40.
And get to 40 and create a whole new league, basically a level of college football that is the evolution of it is above Division I. It's sort of Division I can remain, but this is your super college football league. You don't have, relegation or anything. These are your 40 teams. And every year they're going to battle it out, and it's going to be very much similar to the NFL model.
And I'll say this. If the SEC adds 4 and the Big Ten adds 2 and it's 20 and 20, and the 6 that go are the ones you would expect, the six that move on would be FSU, Clemson, Miami, North Carolina, Virginia. Notre Dame. FSU, Clemson, Miami, Notre Dame, North Carolina, Virginia.
North Carolina.
Yeah, okay. That pretty much would be the team of the 40. That would pretty much be the 40 that matter. Now that you'd have, Oklahoma State and Georgia Tech and some and Pitt and some schools that have been okay over the years left out. But if you added, if the SEC took its 4, and just for the sake of this conversation, if the SEC took its 4, and the 4 it added were Clemson, Miami, North Carolina, Virginia, and then the 2 that went to the Big Ten would be Florida State
and Notre Dame.
Okay, if it went that way, you'd pretty much have the 40 that mattered. Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard to your model. It'd be hard to argue that anybody matters anywhere near as much as those 40.
And I hear people out there saying, well, what about Vanderbilt? What about Mississippi State? What about Northwestern? What about Minnesota? Those conferences are not going to tell partners that they've been some of these partners they've been with for 100 years.
Yeah,
they're not going to kick anybody out.
No,
they're part of the pride of this.
Right.
Is that you've won.
Right.
And that you're moving to a different level with the partners that help get you there. And And so, yeah, I think, you would have some school. Now, I mean, they could elect not to go,
right?
But why would you do that when the money is going to be as extravagant as it would be in that model?
Yeah,
because now you're splitting billions and billions and billions of dollars with just 40 of you.
Yeah, and you really could see it be essentially those teams. If it ever came to that, there'd be a place for FSU, Miami, Clemson, and Notre Dame. I don't think anybody would debate that. They're four of the blue bloods of college football. And then after that, yeah, probably North Carolina, Virginia, because of the markets. And that would probably be it. And that's so it'd be very interesting to see. Let's take a break. Let's stay on college football. Who's getting to the playoffs? What kind of team gets in? How will the seedings look? What type of teams are going to have games on their campus? A lot of good stuff. We'll talk about it. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Now, a 1010XL Summer Olympic Update. Brought to you by USAPark.net Airport Parking.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2024 Summer Games. Simone Biles reclaims the gold medal in the gymnastics individual all-around. A huge smile on her face after finishing her floor routine. She knew it even before the judges weighed in. Biles, who won this event in Rio in 2016, is now the first American gymnast to ever win 6 gold medals. She has 9 overall. Brazil's Rebecca Andrade gets the silver. Suni Lee, the gold medalist in Tokyo, takes bronze. In the pool, American Reagan Smith takes silver in the women's 200-meter butterfly, finishing behind 17-year-old Canadian Summer McIntosh, her 3rd medal in Paris and 2nd gold. About to tip off women's basketball, Team USA and Belgium, 3-on-3 hoops. Both the U.S. men and women lost to fall to 0-3. With this Summer Games update, I'm Brad Heller, Westwood One Sports.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. And look at you, hands perfectly placed on the wheel. Not like the driver to the right of you who's really going after that drum solo. Save with DriveWise and the Allstate app and only pay a rate based on you.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Wellness means something different to each of us. And at Westin Hotels and Resorts, we believe every step is an opportunity to enhance your well-being. Whether it's guided group runs and workout gear on demand, or nourishing food options and restorative rest in our heavenly bed. When you travel, you can find wellness at Westin, one of 30 hotel brands in the Marriott Bonvoy portfolio. Find wellness at Westin.
Nimnick Chevrolet is Northeast Florida's Silverado truck headquarters. Frank Frangie here. With new shipments arriving daily, Nimnick Chevrolet has the best selection of Silverado trucks on the ground in town. Nimnick Chevrolet is conveniently located on the corner of Park and Cassett Avenue or online at nimnickchevy.com. Nimnick Chevrolet is family-owned and operated. No one cares more about their customers before and after the sale. That's Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
It's storm season, and JEA is committed to keeping you informed. In the event of a storm, we'll text and email you about the status of your services. We use Facebook and Twitter to post real-time updates. Our live outage map on JEA.com lets you track restoration progress. And as crews work to restore services, our storm outreach team will be in local neighborhoods to answer your questions. Because as your community utility, JEA is here to keep you safe and connected. Your community, your utility.
This summer, Big Chief Tire is teaming up with local nonprofit V for Victory to support local families impacted by cancer. Frank Frangie here. To participate, donate school supplies at any of Big Chief's locations, including Orange Park, Westside, Blanding, Southside, and Northside locations, and receive 10% off your next service. Together, we can make a difference in the Jacksonville community. Visit BigChiefTire.com or call 904-932-0950 to see the full wish list and learn more. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Right now, they're on their way to ruin your day. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. And if you're not prepared, you will suffer. Yes, it's that time of the year. Heat and humidity are attacking North Florida. But help is at hand. Call Mike Merritt's Heating and Air Conditioning. Mike Merritt has a license to chill. and lets you maintain your comfort zone at a bargain price. How? Mike Merritt stands ready to help, routine or emergencies. And Mike Merritt knows emergencies can happen at any time. So with Mike, there's never any overtime charges. And Mike's team works without commissions. Merritt will never try to sell you parts you don't need. You can't trust just anyone with a truck. Call Mike Merritt, the company North Florida has trusted for 35 years. Call today. License number CAC 050384.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
It's kind of like his own private locker, and you're his guest.
Every time we talk, I'm reinvigorated by my love of the game.
Hays Carlyon here. Find my blog at 1010xl.com.
Hayes Blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing, where quality and experience count.
The best game day parking in all of Duval is at Tailgaters Parking. Are you ready for some football? Tailgaters is just steps away on the east side of the stadium. Visit tailgatorsparking.com and secure your season parking pass today.
Hey sports fans, this is Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. Look, we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino canceled because real life came calling. Well, MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. I love the live casino. The roulette is awesome. It's so easy and so much fun. Just go to MyBookie and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action is in your hands. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL, and a revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. So sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win. Only with MyBookie.
1010XL Weekly is out now. Mia here, and text the word weekly to subscribe to our new 1010XL newsletter and for a chance to win Jaguars and concert tickets. Get an inside look at local sports, trending players, station info, and chances to win prizes all year long.
Raid wants to know, what would you do if you could confidently face every day knowing you and your loved ones are protected? Would you sing along to your favorite song at the top of your lungs? Turn off the GPS and let your heart do the guiding. Go to the drive-thru and order one of everything. Feel the buzz of confidence of knowing you are protected with 65 years of insect science in your hands. Raid. Protection for everyone.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon, JJ La Selva. My contention remains this may be one of the greatest rock and roll albums of all time. Top five album of all time. The first Boston album, top 5 album of all time. I'll stand my ground on that. Of all time. In the history of rock and roll.
I need to put it on Spotify one night and just
play the
whole thing through.
Every song was a hit.
That's the thing.
Literally every song.
Well, and that's the thing that's cool now, like with a service like that, is you can go back to listening to albums. You're just doing it in a much different way.
But you hear the whole album.
Yeah, but you can, and there was something cool about that. We sort of lost, touch with that over the last 20, 25
great
years.
album. That is Smokin' from the first Boston album. All right, so when we get to the playoffs, what's the worst record that'll be in it?
I'll say 9-3. A 9-3 team from the SEC gets in.
Okay, and that's the worst at large record that'll get in. Because you certainly could have.
You could have an 8-4 Big 12 champ or
correct.
ACC champ.
Yeah. So 9 and I agree with that. I think you could even. I wouldn't be surprised. Remember, they're still having conference championship games, so you could have a 7-5 team get in and win the game. So, but for large teams, I would think it would be hard to lose more than 3 games and get in. My guess is when it plays out, you're going to have when all the championship games are over and we have our 12 teams. My guess is you're going to have your Georgias, Ohio States, blah 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 blah, who will have at the most 2 losses. They could have 2, and with as tough as the leagues are, you could have 2. And I think you'll have, some 9-3s. I don't see an 8-4 in. My first
the only
thought was
team that could be an 8-4 in is Florida.
Yeah,
that's the only team that has the schedule that could put. And I don't think it'll happen.
Right.
But if they lost a couple early, Florida could lose like to Miami, at Tennessee, and maybe one more in that first half.
Yeah.
It would almost have to be the opposite of what we think.
Right.
It would almost have to be Florida starts kind of shaky, but then in that final 5. Goes like 4-1 against Georgia, Ole Miss, LSU, Florida State.
So in your mind, an
Texas.
8-4 team with a brutal schedule could get in.
And even then, I really don't. I think Florida has. I think 9-3 is going to have to be for any team,
right?
Even with Florida's brutal schedule.
Even in 2 or 3 years, let's say LSU has an incredibly tough schedule and they go to 8-4. It's probably hard. It's probably hard.
I mean, that's losing a third of your games.
Yeah, it's probably hard, and there's only 12 teams in it.
Yeah.
You could if there's 16 teams in it, then you're going to have some 8-4s.
Right.
But when there's only 12 in it, I think 9-3 is probably good because I will tell you, there's going to be a 9-3 LSU make it, and an 11-1 Cincinnati not.
Right.
That's going to happen
without a doubt.
And you're going to have
ready.
That's right, and you're going to have consternation over that.
If you're not playing in the SEC or the Big Ten. Once you lose your second game, you've put yourself in danger.
That's correct.
If you're not winning your league.
Yeah, that's exactly. You're probably going to. And that the beauty of this season is the scoreboard watching and the standing watching will be like never before.
Absolutely.
It'll start right out of the gate. I mean, maybe not the first week, but 3 weeks in, if all of a sudden Ohio State gets upset and they're 3-1, you're going to start watching how many more can they lose and get in if they don't win their league. So. It'll be interesting. What about Notre Dame? What does Notre Dame got to do to get in? Because number one, they can't be a top 4 seed. No, they could go.
I'm still stunned. They agree.
They can go 12-0 and win every game by 30 points and would be the 5 seed.
Yep.
Which is, and that'll get tweaked. By the way, that will not be a forever. It'll take one 11-1. They're probably not going to go 12-0. But it's going to take one 11-1 Notre Dame, who only loses to Ohio State and is the 5th seed, to change the rule. Agree or disagree?
I would agree. I think if Notre Dame is able to put together that kind of year, they'll have no choice to tweak it because it's just going to look silly to have the number 1 or 2 team in the country, particularly in the undefeated hypothetical, because Notre Dame would probably be the number 1 team in the country. Well, you can't in a legitimate playoff have your number 1 ranked team be the 5 seed. And I just don't think it makes any sense. So I was surprised they agreed to it. I would think if Notre Dame is able to produce that kind of a season, it would have to be modified because it's just going to look ridiculous.
All right. So let's project for a second. Let's project for the sake of the conversation, Georgia, Ohio State, Florida State, and who wins the Big 12? Give me somebody. Utah,
West Virginia.
Let's say Utah.
Okay, Utah. Yeah, Utah's better.
So let's say Florida State, Ohio State, Georgia, and Utah are the 4, isn't there a 5th automatic quality? Aren't there 5 automatic spots? Isn't it the top 5 conference champions?
Think so. Yes.
So there'll be a conference champion from a non Power 4,
like App State. A lot of people think could make it. I think Liberty, maybe
Boise. Okay,
Boise. Yeah.
So let's say for the sake of the conversation, it's Boise. So, which is bizarre, by the way.
Right.
Boise being the 6th seed and Texas being the 7 makes no sense. Okay, Boise being the 5 and Texas being the 6 makes no sense.
Well, I don't think they're the 5. I think they'd be like the 12.
I thought they were.
I don't think it's.
They're not.
They're not guaranteed the 5. I think
it's
most
the top
years.
4. That's
correct.
Right. It's the top 4. You're right. Okay. I feel better then.
Yeah.
So then the 5th seed is Texas, Notre Dame, Penn State. Right. Michigan. So. But those teams all have home games. So there's a pretty good chance Georgia, Ohio State, Florida State, and Utah have byes. So then Boise is at Texas, and and Penn State is at LSU. And, all of a sudden, that's a pretty good setup.
Oh, it's great.
And then USC is at Michigan. That'll be one heck of a week.
It will be.
That's what we've lost sight of is how good that week will. How good will that week be?
December becomes a fantastic sports month.
Fantastic. Think about those matchups I just said.
Yeah.
And we're not even at bowls; those are on-campus games.
Right.
That I almost think there's more charm to those games than there are to the bowl games that are in this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because once you get beyond the first round, then it kind of just feels like sort of the system that we had. You'll have a little bit more, but. But yeah, it'll feel more just like the traditional bowl. But that week to get there, and they've done a nice job. We've gone through like the TV times and the days that they have it, and it's going to be phenomenal.
And think about it: if you're Texas and Michigan, and you didn't win your conference, okay, but you have really good teams. Well, so if you're the 5 seed, you play 12. If you're the 6, you play the 11. Well, the way that might play out is, okay, you're Texas and Michigan, and you're 5. One's going to be 5, one's going to be 6. 12 and 11 are Boise and Alabama.
Yeah.
Well, you want that 6 seed, not the 5. That's the 6 because you'd way rather have Boise coming in than you would Alabama coming in.
You mean you want to be the 5, not the 6?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I got it wrong. Right. You want that 5 seed.
Right. The 5 seed will be big.
But that's the point.
Right.
The 5 seed is going to be a really big deal.
Right.
Because most years that group of 5 team isn't going to be so you either get Boise or Alabama.
Yeah.
So you're going to on selection day, the people that get that 6 seed are going to be ticked. Mm-hmm. So that's one more element. I guess that's my point. That's one more element.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers to it. It's going to be fantastic to see, and they've got to. I would think they're going to try to avoid rematches.
You would think.
So do you run into some of that? Like, do you almost get cost? Yeah, the 5 versus the 12 probably won't be a rematch very often because we expect the 12 to be more of a minor team. But certainly in terms of the seeding 6 through 11, and trying to avoid a duplicate. And then the other thing in terms of a duplicate game, because we do still have the conference championship, like you may see Ohio State, Michigan 3 times in a span of 6 weeks.
Oh, I think Jeff Dantzler and I had that talk. Jeff Dantzler on our show said, Frank, I expect Georgia and Texas to play 3 times.
And that could easily happen.
He said that. He said, I truly
Georgia and Alabama could play 3 times if Alabama's better than Texas.
Yeah, but he said, I truly expect Georgia and Texas to play 3. He said, in my opinion, because of quarterback play, depth of roster, experience in the playoffs from this past year, they play in the regular season. He said, I think they're going to play in the SEC game, and I think they're going to play in the playoffs. So it may be in the final game of the playoffs. So it's interesting. It'll be fascinating the way the whole plays out. The whole thing plays out. Let's take a break. The Jaguars, by the way, have an email. I just saw it that I think is going out to the fans. Have you seen this?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's interesting. We'll take a break. I'll tell you what it says, and they're asking you to make a choice. We'll explain it after this.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. Pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles Update. This past season's NHL Extended Series is on shelves as it completes 23-24 with 250 cards. The final 50 being a mix of young guns and first-round draft picks. Look for up to 10 different card versions and Extended Series hockey. Showtime, Sports Cards and Collectibles. Update your collection.
Tropical Smoothie Cafe here with your daily reminder to get on Tropic Time. Take 10. Sip a refreshing smoothie and manifest at your cabana side. Slade hot yoga? Treat yourself. Crushed back-to-back meetings? Get that me time. Adulted a little extra today? You deserve a vacay. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. And look who's back and causing a stir. Our refreshing Island Punch, Mango Berry Cosmo, and Watermelon Mojito mocktail smoothies are here for a limited time.
Daytona always brings the drama.
Everything's on the line. The risk will be higher.
3 wide.
Look how insane this is.
Gunning to keep playoff hopes alive. It's now or never.
It's the most stressful night of racing that you'll ever go through.
For an unforgettable weekend of family fun, high wattage star power, and a front row seat full of fireworks. NASCAR weekend at Daytona International Speedway, August 23rd and 24th. Get your tickets now at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Get your golf weekend started early during Brunch with the Tour.
Here it comes.
Tour news, tips, and inside info.
Brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation.
Fantastic chef there.
Brunch provided by Chick-fil-A. Tuesday morning at 8:30 on 1010XL.
Duck Rooter is hiring plumbers, CDL drivers, septic system installers, and helpers. We offer excellent pay and a full benefits package. Apply at duckduckrooter.com or call for details. 904-862-6769.
Equal opportunity employer.
Jags fans, the Jaguars are back at the Miller Electric Center for training camp.
Presented by Dreamfinder.
You won't want to miss out. Stop by to get the first look at Trevor Lawrence and the team as they prepare for the 2024 season. To check out camp dates and secure your tickets, go to jaguars.com/training camp. Daily availability is limited, so lock in your tickets today.
How good is that?
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
I'm Taylor Rose with our Remedy Staffing Westside office off of Normandy Boulevard. We're helping great people find great jobs. Remedy has helped some of the best employers in Jacksonville find talented job seekers like you for over 25 years. Our current job openings range from entry-level distribution center pickers to equipment operators. Apply today at remedygoodjobs.com. Don't wait. Apply at remedygoodjobs.com now.
This is David Lane. After suffering through several painful injuries to my shoulder, back, and knees, I've taken my issues to Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and without fail, they've been a tremendous help towards solving my problems. If you have any orthopedic situations, don't procrastinate. Take action today. Give those aches and pains to the pros at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. You'll be glad you did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Brackish Vodka, the official vodka of UNF Athletics, 100% made in Jacksonville, is available at all local liquor stores. Visit Browdy's, Total Wine, ABC, Shores, Golden, Sahara's, Golden Ox, and more. Drink our gluten-free San Francisco Spirit award-winning vodka and see why it's the smoothest vodka you can buy. When you drink Brackish Vodka, you support all of our local employees and all the money stays in Jacksonville. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Wondering what you're going to do for dinner tonight? Southern Steer Butcher is a full-service butcher, and we grind and make sausage in-house every day.
Now open in Ortega. For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Running back Travis Etienne caught up with the media after camp yesterday and mentioned that he has high expectations for himself this season.
I'm expecting an unbelievable year. I feel like I want to go out there and just be the best player that I can be for the team. I feel like week in and week out, just being healthy. I feel like for me, health is wealth, and I'm able to go out there and just present a mismatch. And I just really want to see Coach just kind of exploit those mismatches more this year.
Etienne, who rushed for over 1,000 yards in each of his first 2 seasons and found the end zone 11 times last year, is predicting to take another big jump ahead of a fresh year. With another year to get comfortable in the system, Etienne could be a dangerous weapon for Duval, especially if he can become an effective tool in the passing game. I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville orthopedic specialist, Jaguars Update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, let's cool down by telling you where we've been today. We've certainly talked about the Jaguars. All right, we started the program. 1 week in, what surprised us, what didn't. Hays thinks the team looks like they're special on defense. I do too. I think that's one of the big surprises, really, of the first week to me is longer, athletic. They're physical on defense even before their pads were on. I think that stood out, and it's going to be fun to watch the second-year guys play, for me at least. Certainly Tank Bigsby, Brenton Strange, Parker Washington, guys who were drafted a year ago and didn't make a big impact. We'll see what happens. We talked baseball. Are the Braves on a run? We all think this might be the time they make a little bit of a move. We'll talk about that. We talked about the ACC and who's going to wind up winning it and who winds up in the playoffs. How many losses can you have and make the playoffs? A lot of college football talk as well. That's the cool down. That's where we've been over the course of the program. One more topic I will get to. The Jags have a cool email out there going, I guess, to their maybe season ticket holders or certainly just to fans overall. A fan survey by the Jaguars, and it reads like this. Are you excited about the Stadium of the Future in 2028? The Jaguars heard you loud and clear through the 2023 community huddles, and they did a great job of those, by the way. Mm-hmm. Only play one season away from Jacksonville while renovating the new stadium. We're keeping that promise for the 2027 season. And by the way, that is what happened. Mark Lamping said, listen, we were going to listen to you. We didn't want you. You didn't want us gone 2 years. You wanted us gone only one. So we're going to be gone only one. Now the question remains, and I'm going to read this from the survey. Now the question remains, where should we play, and will we see you there? We want to know what you think, Jaguars fans. Gainesville or Orlando? Down to those two. Interesting survey.
Yeah.
Where will the survey land?
I think it's going to land at Orlando, would be my guess.
Okay, why?
Because I think there's so much of the fan base that, is not doesn't have an allegiance to the Gators. Not only doesn't have an allegiance, but despises the Gators. And so if you're a Florida State, a Georgia Jaguar fan, a Miami Jaguar fan, I don't know that you want to go into the swamp, and watch the Jaguars play there. So I think Orlando will win it. I don't think that's the best destination. I just saw a concert there 6 weeks ago, and I mean the stadium is not a good one.
You'd prefer Gainesville.
I would prefer Gainesville. I know in Gainesville, obviously, you have to build a adequate visitors locker room for NFL standards. But I think I think that would be easy to do. The stadium obviously is plenty big enough. And I think that yes, there's no interstate to get to Gainesville, but this is a stadium that routinely has 92,000 people show up for a game. So I'm guessing 40 or 50,000 Jaguar fans that'll be willing to travel either to Gainesville or Orlando. I think you can make that work. You're picking the lesser of two evils. Obviously, that's what this is. Right, I mean, we get that. I mean,
and it's only 1 year.
Yeah, and it's only 1 year. I mean, no solution is going to be perfect. But I think Gainesville makes the most sense just because it's closer and you don't have to battle the Orlando traffic, and I think you're playing in a better venue than you are in Orlando. I mean, that is not a good venue that they have there.
Yeah, I think the vote's going to be Orlando too. And for some of the reasons you said, I think, listen, if you're a fan of Florida State or Georgia or Miami or wherever, I don't want to go to Gainesville. That's the enemy. And I get that. And I think people also, other than people that are fans of Florida, they know Orlando. They've been to Disney. They've been across the state. They know the drive. There's a comfort level. With the drive to Gainesville, there's not a comfort level because you might not have ever been there. I prefer Gainesville. Part of it's my allegiance. I'd be being disingenuous if I didn't say my Gator allegiance isn't in play. I spent 2.5 years of my life there going through. I mean, I went to junior college for 2 years, but I graduated from Florida, and I love going down there, and I love the city because of the charm to me because I'm a Florida guy, and I'd be lying if I said that wasn't in play. I also don't love Orlando traffic. It's closer. I like all that too. So all those are in play for me. It's going to be fine either way. It's 1 year. It's a handful of games, but I think the vote will be Orlando. I think they're going to land in Orlando. Because one of the things Mark Lamping said on our show, and I've heard him say on other show when he's at the podium, I think the NFL will have concerns about Gainesville. Number one, the size of the visiting locker room. Number two, you can't get those camera trucks behind the benches, which is a big deal to the NFL. And again, I didn't know that till I heard Mark say it. But I think that's in play as well. I don't love the stadium in Orlando either. I think it's rickety, but they have played NFL events there. They've played Pro Bowls there, so the NFL has been there. The NFL knows what it's dealing with Orlando. It doesn't know what it's dealing with Gainesville. So I think it's going to land in Orlando. We'll say this is my guess. I'd prefer Gainesville. I think it's going to land in Orlando. But I think the fan vote, will probably be Orlando. And listen, if you're the Jags and you kind of and by the way, this is me talking. This isn't them talking. I'm just trying to piece it all together. But if you're the Jags and you kind of feel like it's going to land in Orlando because that's what the NFL thinks is best, well, then the survey makes a lot of sense because the survey is probably going to say Orlando too. So, but the survey will probably equate to what the NFL wants to. So I think it's going to be Orlando. But again, and to be clear, that's not with any inside information because there isn't any inside information. Mark Lamping, who's as transparent as they come, he said, listen, here's the strength of Gainesville. Here's the strength of Orlando. Here's what's good about this place. Here's what's good about that place. And I will say this, and Mark has said this many times, that relationship between the University of Florida and the Jaguars is very good and very healthy and very real. I mean, UF Health, I think, is one of the sponsors of the Jaguars these days. They play the Jags are very involved in the Florida-Georgia game, which is here every year. So there's a real relationship between the two, entities, and that's so we'll see what winds up happening. But my guess is the vote will wind up being Orlando. We'll do a shout on that.
Yeah, that'd be good. JJ, what do you think?
I think that if you're a fan of like Florida State or Miami and you refuse to watch the Jags because they're in Gainesville, you're a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest. I refuse to believe there's people like that. I would rather have it in Orlando because, like you said, go to Orlando, you can make a whole weekend out of it. There's like tons of stuff to do. I grew up 20 minutes from Gainesville. There's absolutely nothing going on there besides the game.
Right.
So I would say Orlando, just the trip would be better. But I think the whole, I love the Knowles, I refuse to go watch them play at the Swamp, that to me is crazy.
Well, keep in mind, their baseball coach that's an icon famously said, I will not get gas in Gainesville because I don't want to support their economy.
Right.
So it is not.
Which is a great line.
It is a great line, but it's not ridiculous to suggest that there aren't diehard Knowles and dogs that'll be like, I'm not going to the Swamp.
But if you're that guy, you're probably not going to go to Orlando to watch them either.
Yeah, maybe not.
One thing we have, all of us, because we've been in this industry for so long, we've been to all of them. We've never been a fan that was not in the industry who didn't want to go to the opposing spot, right? I mean, if you've done this as long as we've done it, and JJ not as much because he's been in the producer room, but guys like you and I that have covered this forever, we've spent plenty of time in Tallahassee and Gainesville and Miami and Orlando and all because we've been to all of them. So it's a little bit of it, but it'll be interesting to see the way it plays out. The other thing is, and I wonder this, and this is no inside information either, but I wonder if there'll be more London games that year. Will there be an additional London game that year? Would it make sense to if you're – and in fairness to the Jaguars, it's only 1 year. If you can make significant extra dollars by playing an extra game or two in London, if you can really – you're paying half of a really expensive stadium. If you can make extra dollars, and I don't know the numbers, that wouldn't bother me. I don't think anybody wants to see multiple home games in London very often. But if it's a one-year deal, and for those who weren't going to Gainesville or Orlando anyway, so my guess is there's a chance of that. And again, I want to be clear. No one's told me that. There's no tip. I'm just thinking logic would tell me if every time you play a home game in London, you make significantly more money than when you play it anywhere else. And if that's 1 year you can play, that's the 1 year you can do it. I wouldn't imagine it's going to happen very often once you have your new stadium of the future, right? So it would make sense, I would think.
It would make sense as long as I think the Jaguars would be willing to host a game at Tottenham. I mean, they're always going to have their one Wembley, and maybe there'll be enough of a window for them to host multiple games at Wembley. A part of that equation will be, it seems like teams are more reluctant now to give up the home game to go to London.
Yeah.
So the league might like the fact if the Jaguars, because I think they're committed to playing, 3 games in London, 2 at Tottenham, and 1 in Wembley. So if it makes it easier on the NFL from the standpoint of, well, now we only have to find one other team that's willing to do it because of the 3 games where we need somebody to give up a game, the Jaguars are willing to take 2 since they're displaced. Then then that might make some sense. So yeah, that certainly could be.
What about a European tour?
Maybe, one game in Wembley, one game
in Germany.
I
mean, they played a game in Germany
they've now done the territories, your secondary territory. And I think the Jaguars' secondary, I think, is Ireland.
Yeah.
What?
So I think it would be if they did
Jags
that.
Control Ireland.
I haven't heard about the territory.
Yeah, it's not as ridiculous as your. I know you're throwing it out there to make a joke, but I mean, there's a legitimate, I think, belief that could happen. I think it would be at the stadium where Florida State and Georgia Tech are playing.
Dublin, yeah, that wouldn't surprise if the Jags now control Ireland. Which I think they do from
Explain
the NFL
that. What do you?
So, like, the NFL basically assigned a secondary. So, like, obviously the Jaguars, their primary one is London.
And Wembley.
In Wembley. But every NFL team has 1 or 2 international markets. Some have Brazil, and you're seeing, like, Philadelphia is
and what
hosting
that means,
a game
JJ,
in
is
Brazil.
you can go sell your stuff there.
Correct.
You do your. They don't want everybody showing up and having a business relationship and stepping on each other.
Right. So like Germany, there's only probably a couple of teams that have access to Germany now.
Right.
And this came out maybe like a year, 18 months ago.
Right.
something like that. So I don't have it in front of me, but I know the Jaguars' other one is Ireland.
That's very odd.
Yeah. So the Jaguars, yes, it's conceivable. Which I think wouldn't be. I can tell you.
Doesn't seem like a very far ride.
No, the jump. I can tell you the jump from London to Ireland is pretty quick because they just made it and getting ready to make it again.
It's probably like Florida to Georgia or South Carolina or something.
That would not shock me to play one in Wembley. And then I mean, Wembley to Dublin is across the ditch. I mean, so it's a quick little jump. So again, last year we did it, and we're going to do it again this year. We actually flew from London to Shannon, which is further because it's Western Ireland. So, but anyway, we'll see what winds up happening. All right, that's just about going to do it for our show. For the first time this year now, you're going to hear the Doug Peterson Show. It's part of Jaguars Happy Hour, and that comes up in just a bit. Every Thursday now, our program will be 2 to 4, and then as soon as we're off the air on both of our radio stations, you will hear the Jaguar Happy Hour, followed by the Doug Peterson Show, which is going to be a lot of fun. So we're looking forward to doing that. We'll do it all season long, and like I told you earlier, Hays, all the way to middle of February.
That's right. Let's go.
That's the plan. Folks, that's our program. Don't go anywhere. Jaguar Programming's next. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.